Greetings, everybody. This your girl Tiffany coming through here live in effect. Today, I want to talk about a very important subject dealing with health. And this subject is called Could Racism Cause an Increase of Strokes in Black Women? Why am I speaking on this subject? Only because I came across an article online that's dealing with the whole health disparities amongst Black women, and one of the contributing factors or one of the things that could cause an increase of health issues regard to us as Black women is racism. Now, we have people saying things like racism don't exist or racism don't have an effect on us because we didn't live in a time period that our ancestor was going through the crisis, right? But little do they know, they don't understand the concept of epigenetics. They don't understand the fact that it could be passed on from generation. The what you call a philosophy can still be passed on down. And we have noticed the health issues, the health crisis in our community. And one of the most, the main common health issues amongst Black people are diabetes, high blood pressure, and cancer. But mostly diabetes and high blood pressure. Why? Because due to poor diet, due to stress, and genetics. So let's get to the subject. Now, here's the article by NBC News, and you guys can check it out for yourself. So, according to NBC News, this came out November 17th of 2023. It says Black women who reported experiencing racism may be at an increased risk of having a stroke, a new study finds. Participants who said they experienced racism in employment, housing, and interaction with police had an estimated 38% higher chance of experiencing all types of strokes compared to Black women who didn't perceive experiencing racism, the study found. The study published under Boston University Black Women's Health Study followed 48,375 Black women from 1997 to 2019 who were free of cardiovascular disease and cancer at the beginning of the study. Over the 22-year period, the study identified 1,664 cases of Black women who had strokes. Now, strokes is a very common thing, and it's serious. We had loved ones dying from having a stroke. And high blood pressure is very serious amongst Black women than it is amongst Black men. Black women have a greater chance of dying from high blood pressure. There's a book called Weathering by Arlene Jeronimus. All right. So that book goes into how racism in workplace can bring about health disparity amongst Black women. And then there's an article which is called Black Fatigue, which I'm going to post up. And I posted this article before, but I'm going to post it up again for this video because it ties into this. It ties into this. But people, we have to really understand how serious and how important it is to take consideration of our health. People made criticism about Andre 3000 during the album where he's playing a flute, right? But for those who deal with meditation, that's a healing process. This is one of the reasons why people practice yoga. This is one of the reasons why people exercise to relieve themselves from stress. This is why when Joyce Littell was on V103, Quiet Storm, she used to say, relax, release, and relieve. Relax, release, and relieve. Now, for those of you that grew up on V103 and listening to Joyce Littell, the Quiet Storm, at the end, she said, relax, release, and relieve. So we don't take the time out as Black women to actually relieve ourselves. We carry on so much stress, and when it builds up over time, it affects us psychologically, emotionally, and physically. And we're always tired. We don't want to do anything. We don't like getting up doing the basic stuff such as cleaning up or cooking or whatever. People don't understand the connection. See, racism is more than just discrimination. Racism is also health disparity. When you're dealing with an unethical practice in a country that's built on that foundation because of capitalism, it causes major health disparity. This is not an exaggeration. This is what it is. Let's go back to the article. And the article also said Black adults are 50% more likely to have a stroke compared to white adults. And Black women are 2 times more likely to have a stroke than white women, according to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. While experts have cited factors like obesity and hypertension as the cause for such high rates, the BWHS aims to show that potential causes from environmental and social factors that individuals can't change. Again, environmental, let's highlight that word, environmental and social factors that individuals can't change, like racism, should also be considered, according to Dr. Julie Palmer, director of Sloan Epidemiology Center at Boston University and a co-author of the study. Then it go on to say, our whole aim is really to provide information that will be useful so that fewer people will have major illnesses. All right, and that's what Dr. Palmer said, right? Black Boston University's BHWS was initiated in 1995 in response to very little research being done on Black women's health, Palmer said. Inspired by the Nurses' Health Study, BHWS collected data from 59,000 Black women throughout the country and followed up with them every 2 years to learn about any changes in their health. While the study did not include other races of women, the fact that the study focuses only on Black women is more of a strength than a limitation because experiences of discrimination may vary for each group, said Shashine Shinny, an assistant professor at Boston University School of Medicine and a co-author of the study. Oh, but check this out. This study is specifically focused on perceived racism, which relies on participants to report their experiences in the questionnaire. Additional findings in the study revealed that participants who experienced racism in employment, housing, and with the police were more likely to live in neighborhoods of high socioeconomic status and have higher education levels and were less likely to live in the South. So when it comes to the association between racism and higher educational attainment, Palmer said it could stem from educated women being more willing to put a name to racism and recognize what they're experiencing as racism or being treated differently. Hmm. Now isn't that something? Isn't that something? So those who are going through these health issues are those who have higher education and they working in these higher position, if you will, and they don't really live in the South. Not too many of them live in the South. So there, see, black women who have degrees, right? Let's just keep it 100. Black women who have these degrees and get a job in their fields, they're more than likely going to deal with racism, whether they tell it or not. They're going to deal with it. They're not going to, they may not broadcast it as much. And then there's some that's going to openly speak on it because it becomes too much of a crisis and it's a problem that goes unsolved in the workplace. So yeah, they talk about the EEOC, equal employment opportunity, yada yada yada, right? Yeah, we all know about that. But is it really equal employment opportunity in the workplace? Is everybody equal, especially when it comes to the corporate level? Is everybody equal? Is everybody equal? I just want to know. So when it comes to the corporate level, right? And you working at a high position or you in higher upper management, is there equal employment opportunity? Are you being treated fairly? Yeah, are you being treated fairly as a person of color? And I hate to use that term, but no. So imagine, let me take a break from this article for a moment. And let's go back to black fatigue. Let's go into that. Let's take a trip down that way. Okay. This is coming from American Heart Association, right? This is not an exaggeration. Now, if a black woman is writing this article explaining what's going on, and there are studies to back it up, then there's no way anybody can possibly make up what is going on in the workplace, right? Let me show you. Black fatigue, black fatigue. This article came out on February the 24th of 2022, and this come from heart.org. Okay? And what it says, the Center of Disease Control and Prevention recognizes racism as a threat to public health. On a biological level, structural racism-based stress can lead to long-lasting damage to the body and brain, according to a 2020 American Heart Association report in the journal Circulation. It defined structural racism as the normalization and legitimization of an array of dynamics, historical, cultural, institutional, and interpersonal, that routinely advantage white people while producing cumulative and chronic adverse outcomes for people of color. That report describes how racism harms all historically marginalized groups. It also notes that Black adults are more likely to face discrimination and the cumulative effects of racial trauma, but are less likely to receive treatment for their mental health. All right. And the author, Mary Frances Winter, she wrote a book called Black Fatigue. All right, and watch this. It says Winter's, author of the book Black Fatigue, emphasizes that problem lies in the systemic and historical oppression, not the people being oppressed. Being Black is not exhausting. She said racism is exhausting. Now, if you got somebody tell you that racism is exhausting, right? But then you have individuals who run around on YouTube and other social media platforms telling you that racism don't exist and got y'all believing that your ancestor was fighting for no apparent reason at all, and they was not fighting against racism, they was just fighting against patriarchy because racism didn't play a factor. But yet instead this person cannot even show you the studies. These individuals cannot even back anything up, but yes, they want to tell you that racism don't exist. It's just the figure of your imagination. And we got people that actually go along with that. But here's studies that's actually showing what is going on, showing you guys exactly the fact that it does play a contributing factor and it always have. So throughout the generation where our people was out there fighting, protesting and all that, not much has changed. Not much has changed. So we see that the result is bringing about an increase of health disparity in Black people. Not much has changed. That means that the crisis is still there. Racial disparity is still around and it does exist, which brings about health disparity. Let's see. Now, let me go back to this article and then I'm going to close this video out. Okay. Now, watch this. It says Black women who live in regions with high structural racism may not be aware of it or may not be willing to report it on a questionnaire. And then it goes on to say what puts Black community at higher risk of stroke. Watch this. It says strokes are caused by damage or blocked blood vessels that starve the brain of oxygen, resulting in brain cell death, said Dr. Elijah Williams, a professor of neurology and vice dean of community health at the Columbia University Vagelos College of Physicians and Surgeons. All right. So chronic psychosocial stressors like discrimination, he said, can lead to toxic stress, which is dangerous to the body. So to break that down, too much stress can damage your organs. Too much stress can damage your psyche. Too much stress can damage your overall being. So the more stress you add on to your body, the more damage it causes. And we done heard this thing about positive stress and negative stress. At one point, I used to believe in that. But then as I got older, I thought to myself, stress is stress. Whether it's positive or negative, it's stress. And if stress can bring about a serious impact to your health, ain't nothing positive about it. So stress is stress. Stress is stress regardless how it's sugar coated. Hmm? But let's continue on real quick. And it says countless research confirms that factors of racism and discrimination has disproportionately affected Black people and caused negative health outcomes. A survey conducted by the Pew Research Center in 2021 found that roughly 79% of Black Americans, ugh, I hate that, anyways, said they have experienced discrimination due to their race or ethnicity. Another 63% of Black Americans said that racism is an extremely big or a very big problem that they face. Additional data from the survey found. But let somebody tell you, let somebody tell you that you don't deal with racism. Racism don't exist. Racism is not practical, basically. That's what people want to convince others, right? Okay. Aside from increasing the likelihood of strokes, Boston University study found that racism may act as a psychological stressor, elevating systemic inflammation in the body. Previous findings from Boston University identify association of perceived interpersonal racism with higher risk of obesity, type 2 diabetes, and even decreased subjective cognitive function, often resulting in frequent confusion and memory loss. Other studies have also linked perceived interpersonal racism with a higher risk of hypertension, hormone dysregulation, and unhealthy behaviors and lifestyle, among other health issues. Mm. And see, this is why we have to look at studies. We got to read up on studies and actually see it for ourselves. All right. And also, I'm going to give the book recommendation for the people out there to actually read. Okay, it's very important. So, gentlemen, here's the title of the book that I recommend y'all to read. Let me see. I don't think y'all can see it, but the name of this book, right? The name of this book is called Black Health Matters. The Vital Facts You Must Know to Protect Your Health and That of Your Loved Ones by Richard W. Walker Jr. And he is an actual doctor. Okay. How to Overcome the Most Common Health Challenges Facing African Americans. This is a legitimized book. All right. This is someone who works in the field, right? Who has his medical degree. Okay. So he knows exactly what he's talking about. He knows about the health disparity. This ain't just some pseudo jumbo mumbo stuff. All right. This is actual information, important information that can be very useful. So, and again, it ties into this subject about strokes and all of that that's common amongst African Americans, Black people. All right. So, the author, as a matter of fact, I can tell you the information about the author according to the back. It says Richard W. Walker Jr. received his medical degree from Albert Einstein College of Medicine in New York and completed his residency at the University of Michigan. He has served on the faculty of the University of Texas Medical Center and is the founder and medical director of Walker Health Care Holdings and TVP Care LLC, Houston-based healthcare companies. In addition to being a published writer, Dr. Walker is a highly sought-after speaker. Okay. So again, check this book out for yourself. All right. So that's enough for this video. And if you guys want to check out all my previous video, please do so. Make sure you like the channel. Also subscribe, hit the notification bell, share the channel, etc. And until next time, peace and power elevation be to all of you. This your girl Tiffany, and I'm out.